Have you ever wondered why your latest camera that you bought with your top dollars is seemingly slowing down? It's not taking as many shots in burst mode as it is supposed to, or it's dropping frames when you shoot a video, or camera is not shooting the highest resolutions like the 4K, 6Ks and 8Ks, or sometimes it even heats up without any explanation. Chances are that you may be still working with an old firmware, or there is a high probability that you may be using a wrong type of memory card. In this video, we're going to be talking about memory card, the types of memory cards, and why you should use a certain type for your camera. This video is sponsored by Pixel Viilage Creator Academy. After creating India's most loved photography YouTube channel and most popular online photography education portal, we now bring to you Pixel Viilage Creator Academy. A place where you can learn photography, filmmaking, editing, and digital content creation in a well-appointed 10,000 square feet of physical space. We have government-accredited diplomas and certifications, and also have many short-term upskilling courses too. So if you are looking for that perfect place to learn and master your dream profession, then look no further. Use the link in the description, fill the interest form, and we shall get back to you. In the beginning, we had only memory. When we found that it is difficult to memorize things enough, we started scribbling on the rock, then started painting, then started scribbling on leaves, then he started printing on paper. Well, we kept on finding ways to memorize things and record them for posterity. And of course, then came the magnetic media. Then came the computers, which required a much faster way of reading and writing information. Now, this particular hard disk, which IBM made 5-6 decades back, it needed probably 21 of this. That's what I was reading. 21 of these to store one D800 RAW file. Cut to a micro SD card. You can't even see it. This can store 3,360 odd D800 RAW files in it. Now that's where technology has progressed. Though technology has progressed so much, humans still face certain challenges due to our own ignorance. Now things became a little more complex or complicated when we started having portable devices, music players and data recorders and mobile phones, and now digital cameras and filmmaking devices which required large amount of storage, portable storages with great read and write speed. In came the cards and the card readers. Well, to many, a memory card is a memory card is a memory card, but in fact, it is not. Over the years, a lot of things have gone into developing and standardizing the development of memory cards. Let's cut everything short and come straight to that thing that really concerns we photographers and filmmakers. We use micro SD cards, correct? Then we use SD cards. And of course, right at the beginning, we had cards like this. These are called the CF, the compact flash cards. And somewhere along the way, for a brief while, they had something called an XQD card. And they had something called a CFast card. And now they have something called a CF Express card and an SD Express card. That's too many varieties of cards that one needs to remember. But what needs to definitely remember are the types of the cards that are available, the speed in which they work, and the compatibility. So if you typically look at a card like an SD card, SD stands for secured digital cards, okay? And like JPEG is not a file, right? JPEG is a society of photographers who actually decides how that format should be defined. Similarly, SD also has a consortium of, like a society which decides the standards for an SD card. So in the beginning, the files were not really big, so the SD cards were of a smaller capacity, only up to about 2 GB, and they were called just SD cards. Then came the SDHC. It could store up to 32 GB, from 2 GB to 32 GB. And then came the SDXC. It is the extended capacity. It could store up to 2 TB of information. So from a 2 GB to a 32 GB to a 2 terabytes, the SD cards kind of evolved from SD to SDHC to SDXC. And of course, you have one more format, the SDUC, which we don't really use in our day-to-day, like photographers, we don't really deal with them at all. And then they divided the cards into different speed classes based on its ability to read and write. The basic category was called the speed class. Then you had something called UHS, the ultra high speed. Then, of course, the third one was the video class, which was based on the V rating. The first one, the speed class, was from 2, 4, 6, and 10 to C, and that numeric value would be written inside a C. C2 would mean 2 Mbps write, 4 is 4 Mbps, 6 and 6 Mbps, and 10 will be 10 Mbps. And that kind of took care of most of the needs till we moved into video. When our still cameras started also shooting videos, you needed more speed. Now, the speed class rated SD cards, besides of course handling still images, it could also shoot HD video and full HD video. And the cards which are rated at 10, class 10, could handle 4K at 24-25 FPS as well. And when the camera started developing more video capability, camera went up to 4K 30, 60, 120. Of course, then you started requiring much more read-write speed, and UHS, the ultra high speed cards, were introduced. So the U1 and the U3 could handle 4K, and the U3 could handle a little bit of 6K as well. And of course, when that requirement moved up from 6K to 8K, of course, you needed a much faster SD card. Then, of course, then you started developing the UHD 2 types cards, and it started having the video class speed rating as well. And of course, if you look at the card, you will see the video rating as V and the numeric V6 upward to V90. V6 is the lowest speed, and of course V90, which is the fastest one, which can actually handle 6K to up to 8K videos. Now, in Pixel Viilage, we've been using a certain type of cards from ProGrade, and we kind of swear by the quality that we've been getting out of these, because we shoot a lot of 4K and high speed. We now have a camera which can shoot 8K, so we will be using another type of card which I'll introduce to you just now. This one that I'm holding in my hand is the Micro SDXC UHS 2 V60. Okay, this is the micro SD card at V60 rating, and it's got 256 GB capacity. It means it can actually shoot 4K for sure. Probably you can try out a little bit of 8K as well using this. And then you have the SDXC UHS Type 2. Okay, so when the requirements, the speed write rate increased, the communication bus speed also, the type also got changed. It underwent an upgradation, of course, and now they use something called a UHS2. There were cameras which were compatible only with SDXC UHS1. Now the newer cameras like the Fuji X-T4 and the Canon EOS R5 and all is the UHS Type 2. You can use a Type 1 and Type 2, but the Type 2 will not go into a Type 1 bus. Cameras which are older generation. But the newer generation will handle the older generation cards, but obviously you cannot expect the same speed. So that is where we commit our mistake. Like I said, we think that a card is a card is a card, and we try to use an older generation card on a newer generation camera which has a different type of bus which requires much faster data throughput. And well, of course, if you don't have it, the problems that I said all will happen, all can happen, all could happen. Like for example, your buffer will not be emptied very fast, and hence it will slow down the camera. You can, in video, you can lose a frame, and the camera can also throw its hands up in the middle of the shoot itself. So this is the top of the line SD card. This is the SDXC UHS2 V90. This has the class 10 and also the UHS rating of U3. So this is the top grade one. And of course, then they introduced another next extension. I told you there were a couple of other formats which came for a brief while and went away. They're called the XQD, and XQD got modified. I mean, in fact, they put it aside. They kind of killed it prematurely, and on that platform they built the CF Express card. Now, CF Express has two types: the Type A and the Type B. Now, this one is the Type A, and this is the Type B. The advantage of the CF Express card is that now it has become almost a very common card compatible with almost all new generation cameras. They're much more robust than the SD cards. I personally prefer to use a CF Express. I also would like to suggest the CF Express against the SD card, and these are also available at very high capacity as well. For example, the card that I'm holding in my hand, which is the Type B CF Express card, can go into terabytes. And this one is a 650 GB and has a very high read-write speed, 1700 Mbps. Well, you can shoot slow-mo at very, very high frame rates and resolutions. So this is what I have been using of late and found extremely useful. And of course, you must also get a high quality card reader as well. Don't use your expensive camera as a card reader. Get yourself an excellent card reader too. So again, ProGrade offers very high quality card readers. Comes with compatible cables. Everything is built inside. This is something that I personally will recommend to you. So you have the micro SD card, you have SD card, you have the Type A CF Express and the Type B CF Express, and of course the card readers. And all these are available in India with 3 years warranty. Now, that's a big thing. So next time you upgrade your camera, make sure that you have a compatible, a brand recommended card for your camera. It will definitely save you from a whole lot of heartaches. Bye for now.